What I want to talk about first is when you guys are choosing your cameras. I had a boss when I first started my career that used to make a joke that he would say audio only the second most important part of television. So keep in mind, people at home are watching your games on a computer, on their mobile phone, okay? So these are all devices that coming up a lot of times we didn't think about. So I want you to pay attention to where you put your cameras. You don't want to ever miss your action. So we really harp on the fact that you want to make sure that your main camera is in a place that you can catch that action. That's going to be at your center court. Most of you would know that. But things that you want to make sure that you do is you want to think about that camera and what's going to be in front of it. Do you have fans standing up and cheering in front of it? If you have cable runs, things like that. Okay? So your main camera is going to be your go-to. It's going to be the bulk of your webcast. As you get more comfortable with your staff, your camera guys, you get more comfortable with your sport and your venue, obviously you'll feel more comfortable to cut around. But until then, you're going to keep with that center camera so you're safe. Okay, so you're going to want to make sure that that's your main action camera. When the ball is in play, you should not cut away from that camera until you're comfortable. If it's a sport you know, I always make the example. I know basketball. I played it growing up. I love it. College basketball is my favorite sport by far. March Madness is better than the holidays to me. It's just the best time of the year. I can anticipate what's going to happen. So I'm more likely to cut away to get that react shot or get, a coach screaming, things like that. I'm going to be a lot less likely to do that maybe in a soccer game. Okay, because it's not a sport that I've played my whole life. I know it. I've produced a lot of soccer games, but I'm going to play it a little safer. So you're not going to want to cut away from that game camera during action until you're comfortable with it. And the reason is you don't want to miss action. And especially in quick sports like basketball, it's really easy to miss that action. If a fast break happens in the blink of an eye, and before you can cut those cameras, you've missed it. So until you're really comfortable, you want to stay with that main camera. When you do start feeling more comfortable is when you're going to be able to get those alternate cameras in. Okay, my alternate cameras for basketball, for an example, I'm going to put them on the baseline. So if I have 4 cameras, I'm going to have a high camera that's going to be my wide shot, simply going to follow the ball like this. Okay, I'm going to have my second camera right next to that wide shot, getting me that tight ISO for my hero shots, and I'm going to have a camera on each baseline. That's my choice. That's what I would do. Your other options is a slash camera, which is going to be your high corner camera that's going to give you that slash look this way. Okay? So you have different options, but what you want to make sure when choosing these cameras is that it's meant to support the game. People at home want to feel like they're at the game. Who's your audience? Most of our audience is going to be parents, they're going to be scouts, they're going to be friends. They want to see crowds cheering for their son or daughter. They want to see cheerleaders. They want to see the coaches. They want to see that ISO shot of a player coming off of the court when there's a sub. Things like that we're going to use. So we'll use this for close-ups, for cutaways from main action. If there's a free throw, take that baseline camera so you get that shot, ISO shot of them. That'll give you a chance to put in a graphic if you have time, things like that. If you have an injury, you'll use those alternate cameras. Someone fouls out and they go to the bench and there's a storyline there. You'll use those alternate cameras. So those will give you a little bit more spice. Alternate cameras will always make your show better unless you cheat them. And if you cheat them, that means you're not getting back to that wide camera and you're going to miss action. Okay, so alternate cameras, they're not a must. They'll only make you look better, but you have to be a little bit sparing until you're used to your gear and what you guys are doing. So I wanted to give you some ideas on some shots. And we talk about lots of different sports, but if you look at it, really your 3 main fields that you're going to be looking at is inside of the arena here. So your volleyball and basketball, your cameras are going to be basically in the same places. You're looking for different things because they're different sports, but they're basically the same. Your soccer is going to be very similar to if you get, whatever sport you guys have on a field. The same thing with, baseball is the only one that's a bit different. So you're looking at different things for soccer, and I'll just touch on this because I know that you guys don't necessarily need this now, but a lot of you will be in the same position next season. So it's just some ideas to throw out there. When you guys do have soccer, you're looking at goalies, coaches, any corner kicks, bench shots, crowds, things like that. For an example, we did a game at Portland a few weeks ago, and a soccer game, and they have amazing crowds. I think I dedicated 2 of my cameras just to crowds because I wanted people at home to see how exciting it was. That makes students that may want to go to Portland look at that school and say, oh, that's a fun, exciting place to go. Things like that you want, stories that you want to tell. We talked about seniors, and we had a lot of shots of this. We picked out the senior players, and we made sure we had a lot of shots of them. This is the last chance some of these parents will ever see, their daughter on TV. And these are the things that you want to think about as you're choosing your shots. Basketball. So you're going to want the cutaway shots after player makes the basket. That's a hero shot. You're going to get your attaboy, your fist pumps, your high fives. That's why we love sports. That's why we're here. We're here for that moment where, that chest bump and people talking when they get together and they huddle right before a free throw. Those are your alternate camera shots. Okay, you're going to get your bench shots, the crowd shots during timeouts, coaches, that moment where that coach is sitting like this and screaming as he goes. Get that shot. That's that feeling, that moment where you feel like you're there. Those are always going to help your show. Not only does it make your viewer feel like they're there, but it makes your show bigger. We're trying to get away from that moment where you feel like you're just watching films like we all did when we played sports growing up. Get away from that and get actual to a production. A television production is what we're getting to. And so those shots are going to definitely enhance everything you've got. As I said earlier, you're going to have that free throw shot. You can cut back to the main camera if it's a miss and the ball's back in play. You can have that camera as your operators get better, or you, if you're running cameras, to follow the ball up and see if it goes in. Or you can always cut back to the main camera when the ball's in the air.